Hey, this is Ryan from 60 Cycle Hum, the Guitar Podcast, and today I'm going to show you the Atlantic Delay and Reverb by NUX pedals. There's a lot of ground to cover here. I want to show everything it can do and then tell you whether or not I can recommend this pedal. So let's get into it. Here is my dry signal from my Airline 59 2PT on the bridge pickup, which is a Telecaster style bridge pickup. And here is the delay side of the Atlantic on the 70 setting, which is a analog bucket brigade. If you're a man, it might give you a deluxe memory of the style of delay this is trying to sound like. Nice dark repeats there, kind of soft and analog. It definitely has that voice of a a vintage style analog delay. Let's get into the range of the knobs. You've got a level control. You have a time control. Can make spaceship sounds. That's awesome. You got a repeats knob, short repeats, or self oscillation madness. Cool stuff there. There is tap tempo on all the delay settings. Your subdivisions can be controlled by the time knob. Right now we're on the 1-to-1 setting. 3/4 setting. And so on and so on. It's easy to use, no need for an external tap tempo with this. It's built in. Let's check out the 60 setting, which is a tape delay. I should mention that a quirk of the tape delay setting on this is that it acts like a actual physical tape delay with an actual tape in it, where when you rack the time knob, it takes a while for the motor to catch up to the speed that you set it to. It's a funny quirk that they built into this to model that sort of thing. If you start out really low and then crank it up quickly, it's gonna chase your speed for quite a while. So you can have some pretty weird, out of tune weirdness there with a quick turn of the time knob when you're in the tape setting. Level range on here. Pretty normal. Self oscillation if you want it. Don't tell me you don't like that. And of course, tap tempo. All three of the different settings have a different time range, but when you engage tap tempo, all three of them can be out to 1500 milliseconds, which is plenty of time. If you need more than that, then you are a pretty extreme case. All right, let's check out the 80s delay now. This is a digital delay with a little bit of something special about it. It's not a straight one repeat digital delay. It has like a multi-digital delay sort of thing going on, where you have your long repeats and then you get shorter repeats in between that have a bit of like a digital chorusy, very strongly 80s like sort of sound to it. So let me show that off right now. Has a nice gallop to it. And of course, all the same settings as the other. It's a pretty sounding delay. I like the 80s sound. Plenty to work with here. Some classic sounds on the delay side. Let's get into the reverbs. We'll start with the spring setting, of course. You know me, I love spring reverb. How does this hold up? Let's find out. I mean, it's a fine spring reverb setting. Nothing like incredible exciting that I'm going to get obsessed over in any way. But I've been using it live and it fills that role nicely. If I was going to use it for a surf rock band, I would be disappointed with it because it's obviously not doing the drippy surfy thing. But for my church gig, it's just fine. It's definitely like an amp style reverb that works with my sound in that setting. You can cheat a little bit of a sweet drip edge out of it, but it's not quite a real drip. It just gives you that little bit of kind of like oldies rock character. Like I said, pretty sweet little edge to it, but it's no drip. It's not a ridiculous over-the-top surfy sort of sound. But there is plenty to work with there, and I think it's a nice sound. When you get too high up on the decay, the trail, like the pre-delay in the trail, starts to really bunch up on the end of the trail and get kind of weird and kind of digital sounding. I'm not a fan of it, but maybe you have a creative use for it. And you just hear that ring at the very end of it. You start to get it right around there and then any higher. It's like a very fast tile reverb, like small room kind of delay slapback sort of situation. But otherwise, you can get a nice big spacious sound out of it. And it's a decent stand-in if your amp doesn't have reverb. An extra setting on the reverb side of things, if you hold down the bypass switch, you get a momentary hold on the spring in a Hall setting. I'll show off what the momentary feature does on the plate setting in a second. Pretty useful little extra there. Here is the plate setting. dark and moody and ambient, here is that momentary setting I was promising. It's a momentary shimmer, which is what all shimmers should be, honestly. You only need them for a moment. If you use shimmer too much, it starts to aggravate the rest of the band for the most part. I mean, maybe you have a creative way that you use shimmer all the time, but that's my personal opinion on the matter. So anyways, I really like the little splash of momentary shimmer on this. It works great in a church setting, which is where I've been using this. It works well with the lush nature of the plate reverb. Now let's check out the hall setting. The hall setting is a nice balance between like ambient lushness and a real space reverb sort of sound. Like it could sound like you're in a large hall. It's called hall, or like a barn or a big like aircraft shed. What do they call those? An aircraft hangar or something like that. And in an arena, you think of a big like physical space. That's what it's going to sound like. I think it's very useful. Really nice sound to it. Momentary hold setting on there, similar to the spring. For all you ambient players out there, it's good. I have no complaints with any of those spring sounds outside of my particulars with the spring reverb. Did I say spring earlier? I don't have any complaints with any of these reverb sounds, except for my individual complaints about, spring reverbs in general. Okay, let's talk about a feature that this thing has, which I think pushes it over the top into, oh, that's interesting, oh, that's a decent budget pedal, to maybe you should really look into this and consider buying it. When you run them both at the same time, there's a little switch in the back here, right there, that allows you to choose between the effects being in series, where the delay is going into the reverb, or vice versa, or running them in parallel, where the reverb and the delay are running separate of each other. Your dry signal goes in, splits, run through the effect, and then recombines so that your reverb never gets in your delay and your delay never gets in your reverb. And I think it's a pretty fantastic option that gives you a much clearer sound without sacrificing the amount of reverb and delay you want to have. I'll show an example right now of what I'm talking about. We'll dial in that little edge of drip sound from the spring and a long repeat and a loud repeat from the delay. You'll notice that that sweet little drip on the edge of the reverb isn't getting into the delay repeat signal at all. And the delay repeat isn't getting into the reverb, causing extra splashes from the reverb. We'll try a couple other settings. 80s plus plate. You also tell that the reverb isn't continuing into the delay at all. There's no reverb after that initial splash. We'll pull up the decay to get a little bit more reverb splash in there. I think that's great. And of course, you can flick that switch and get into a standard in-series mode. So I think that's a little bit of extra edge this pedal has that pushes it into territory where I could really recommend this to a lot of different people, as it is just as a double-sided delay and reverb at a really good price, 150 bucks for this. Normally I would just say, hey, this is a great education in a box for a new player that doesn't know what they want out of a delay or a reverb, and then they could go from there. For 150 bucks, it's a great deal just as it is. But throwing in that parallel setting, it turns it into something where I'd be recommending it to more advanced players who are looking for a unique control that they might not have on another reverb and delay box, or another reverb and delay setup if they have two standalone reverb and delays. It sounds really decent to me. I don't have any big issues with the tone of it outside of my particulars with spring reverb sounds. It's a well-built box. It feels very high quality. The switches are nice and soft, but firm, and they feel like quality too. Everything about it feels great, and the construction is awesome. I can fully recommend it, and I'm excited about this pedal. For 150 bucks, there's a lot of bang for the buck here, and I don't have any qualms about saying, yeah, go buy it. Man, I just think it's really cool. There's a lot that it does, and it's really easy to play with in a live setting or in a home setting. What else do I say? There you go. That's my opinion on it. Please like, subscribe, dislike, leave me rude and nasty comments. Support this channel on Patreon if you feel like it. If you want to help fund, the content that we make here, I'm going to start giving pedals away to the Patreons regularly. I've already given one away. I'm going to be giving this guy away next. It's the NUX compressor. I'm probably going to give it away the day after this actual demo comes out, if my recording schedule goes to plan. So anyways, later guys, have fun shopping, not shopping, whatever you guys like to do. Go have lunch. Go have a nice lunch. That's what I'm going to do. Later guys.